Hello, hello. Welcome back to Embrace Your Truth podcast with your host, Kanija Grant. And as you guys can tell by the title, I have a guest with me today. Introduce yourself.
How's everybody doing? My name is Darius, but you can call me Divine Messenger. So it's nice to meet you all, and thank you for the opportunity as well.
No problem, of course. Okay, so to jump right into it, first question for you. What are some ways that you improve yourself every day? Like what is improvement and betterment to you? And how do you improve and better yourself every day? How do you go after it?
So I like that question. Actually, before we get into that though, I do want to say to the viewers out there, please make sure that you subscribe to Kanija's page and make sure you support her as well because she is doing her best to get her, her flow, her business going. So make sure that you send her that same positive feedback because she's always consistent with her work. So don't just watch this video and just sit there and not like, don't comment, like make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share it. Enjoy it. And be sure to you can also DM her as well if you want to be a guest also. So don't be a stranger to Kanaja's works because she is putting in a lot of hard time, dedication, and a lot of consistency behind closed doors. So I just wanted to say that before we get started. I
Yes,
didn't mean to
thank
cut
you so much. Oh my God. Thank you.
you off. But yeah,
Okay.
that's also, yeah, so you can go back to the question. I do apologize for that.
No, you're good. You're good. Yes, listen to him, please. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So the question was, what are some ways that you improve and better yourself every day, and how do you go after? Well, how do you go after betterment and improvement? Is the question.
Okay. So that's a great question too. I'm about to burp, so excuse me.
Like you're good.
So, so for one, the first thing is being authentic. So no matter what, you had to always be yourself. The best way I do it is I wake up every day and I'm always thankful. So for one, I don't pray, but I meditate because to me, prayer is like praying to the outside source of what we would call different frequencies. You can call it Satan, you can call it God, whatever the case may be. I go within and I always talk to my divine creator and I just speak affirmations and I just speak manifestations into my life. It's like I already have it. So I do mirror work as well. And mirror work to people who don't know, I look into the mirror and I just say like, you are handsome, you are tall, you are a multimillionaire, you are consistent in your work, you are beautiful. I just say so many different things to where my subconscious mind has no choice but to believe myself. On top of that, I journal every day to the point to where I journal to where I'm in the future. And what do I mean? Currently, for example, I could be today's May 22nd. So in my head, I'm gonna be like, so today I just bought 5 cars. But subconsciously, my conscious is like, you don't got 5 cars outside. But my
Hmm.
spirit, my spirit is like, no, you got 5 cars outside.
Right.
I had
Right.
to believe it to see it. And then I just started I stay in solitude. I'm always at peace. I sun gaze, I nature gaze, I ground myself. I live in my purpose and I always help people reach their subconscious mind. Actually their conscious mind and their subconscious mind. So that's one of the ways that I do it. It's also I eat drink water, I
Yes.
fast,
Hmm.
I just take care of myself to the point to where like I have no choice but to be better than who I was yesterday. And
Right.
I always correct myself and I always dominate my ego because subconsciously my ego is very strong. Consciously I make sure that I nurture myself to the point to where you can't say this or that, but when you do, I had to check myself. So that's why I make
Mhm.
the right call. Yeah, hopefully that answered your question.
Oh yes, it answered it beautifully. Honestly, that's beautiful, and I can relate with the mirror work. I do that as well. I think it's so important to speak affirmations and life into yourself. Because who else going to do it? Who else going to do it? You have to be you have to step up to the plate and step up to just own yourself, own your life. I'm big on that. Just owning yourself, owning everything. Putting your foot forward and just going after everything, going after your goals, your dreams, by affirmations.
As far as you being a divine feminine, what are ways that you train your subconscious mind? Because you know how it is with women in society. So how do you train your subconscious mind to transcend what society says, including unconscious men? How do you do that for yourself? Like, how
You
do you
said how
train?
do I?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like, how do you transcend the ignorance of unconscious men, basically,
Oh,
and women?
unconscious. Okay, both.
Mm.
Honestly, I just ignore people. If I can be completely honest, I stick within my own bubble. I stay to myself. I just stay away from the ignorance. I don't even want to indulge. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want nothing to do with this. So honestly, you can catch me over here and they can say over there. That's really that's really the honest to God truth. I just don't entertain unconscious people. I don't entertain the ignorance. I don't have time for it. Because folks love to debate, folks love to, attack my beliefs, what I believe in, and what's right and what honestly, what really is right and wrong. We don't know. especially when it comes to spirituality and God, Jesus, whatever the case. I'm not having those debates with people. When it comes to I stay away from it. But yeah, that's my answer. Honestly, I just pray for them, or hope, wish for the best for them, and move on. Let them go on about their day. Yes.
I like that. I like that. That's actually a good answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So next question. Okay, let's jump right into the spicy question. Okay.
Okay.
How do you feel? How do you feel about this culture, this day and ages, dating and relationships, and how people are going after dating and relationships?
How do I feel? So for one, I feel like, can I use profanity on here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like we are fucked. Because because for one, let's just start with let me start with the well, the men. A lot of these, not even men, these little boys. For one, I don't feel like there are actually divine masculine men anymore because they're nothing but little
Mm,
boys who just grew up into little boys in grown men bodies. And because a lot of men have not healed from their past, they are projecting their past onto the present moment. So where, for us, it's like, we get our heart broke, cool, that's a cliche story, understandable. But we're so fixated as men to where we had to hold on to that trauma to the point to where we hurt other women that weren't even planning to hurt us in the beginning or in the first place.
right.
And we see women like who are healers, who are like they're just so enlightened to the point to where we knock them off of their pedestal because we want to be higher than them. And it's just like it starts with the men before the women. Now, of course, too, we're so busy. It's like a fall to leader culture, and I'm tired of that because it's like we
Mm,
on social media seeing somebody's opinion. It's like we like it or we like repost it, but it's like what can how can you think outside somebody else's opinion because they're just like they're doing that for likes and views but they don't mean that for real. And it's like we look at women and we
right.
degrade them because we degrade ourselves. I feel like as men we have to stop degrading ourselves because if we do that we won't degrade our women because women are to me women are just amazing because it's like y'all are just everything in one. On top of that we live in a to me our firmament our dome is like the inside of our mom's womb, so we're inside of our mom.
Hmm.
So because of that, we come from a woman. So to me, it just never made sense to me to where you're calling women out of their names, you're calling them hoes, sluts. Like it doesn't matter what they do. It's like as a man, if you know that you're a high value man, I hate that word too, but like, if you know you hold much value, like you're at a heaven conscious, you would do whatever you can to get that woman to a like you have to stimulate her mind because y'all have complex mindsets, and I get that. But it's
Hmm.
like men aren't conscious of their subconscious mind. And that is where we're at a hindrance in our own growth in our society. And we're too busy. Too, a lot of niggas are weird. Like they're so when it comes down because one they're stuck in their lower chakras, so once you're stuck in
Yeah.
like when you're thinking with your dick your third brain you can't think of it, you're not logically thinking, so it's like you see her first thing you do is sexualize her. Do you even know her
Right.
name? Do you even know what she likes? Do you know what her favorite food is? Why can't you just go for a drive and just communicate with her? It's like we are so fixated on sex to where that's all we can bring to the table, but it's like remove.
Hmm.
What do y'all have to talk about? Nothing. What do y'all do? Nothing. So it's
Fact.
like it starts with the men. As far as the women now, women are just a different breed. Women are a different
Mhm.
breed. There are many women who try to follow the leader as well. And it's like, I get it to an extent, but it's like with women, we have to do better as well for the women as well, especially our
I agree.
because women, you like at birth, y'all already sexualized, and I do apologize for that. But it's like women have to be a lot of women for one, y'all are like for one, y'all are dominating this year by far, but y'all were always dominating. But it's like I don't think women need validation from men. But it's like as women, every day we should not have to hear you talking or bashing about men. It's like, sweetheart, you can talk about something else. You don't have to always talk about men and what we do. Because it's like we know niggas ain't shit. We know that. But it's like we can't grow as men and women or guys and goddesses if we keep back like, oh yeah, I don't like her, man. She's a hoe. She done fuck 10 niggas. It's like, oh, he done fuck 10 bitches. It's like, who cares? It's like, let
Man.
people do it. Don't worry about like those are leeches. Those aren't even real people, first of all. We have to find love within our own community. But before we do that, we have to go within and love ourselves before we can pour love into anybody.
Mhm.
So hopefully that answers your question. What do you feel like with our culture? What do you think should What do you think should shift as far as like men and women into dating and like just talking, like sex, all of that? What do you
Mhm.
think?
Like you said, I think it's so important for everybody to go within. A lot of people need healing. A lot of people need to honestly find the roots of why they are so angry at the opposite gender, whatever the case. I know it stems from like childhood trauma or just like past heartbreaks, friendship heartbreaks. Honestly, any kind of heartbreak can, follow into why people are so toxic and just out of touch when it comes to dating and relationships. And I just think that the shift needs to be, once again, people need to heal. I'm always going to start with that. Sit down with yourself, a therapist, I don't know, a spirit guide. Sit down with somebody, something, and get to the root what the hell is going on? Like, why are you, what's going on? Like, and something needs to be purged. Chakra alignment, something. Heart chakra healing, for sure. A lot of heart chakra healing needs to be done with a lot of people. But of course, not everybody understands heart chakra healing or healing outside of just a 3D therapist. I think, and that's honestly where things get complex because it's like I be wanting everybody to to heal and grow when like on a spiritual base in a spiritual sense, but I understand not everybody follows that practice. I just feel like it's the best way to heal and purge. A lot of people are just lost. Yeah, and everybody is just like you said, follow the leader. Like quite literally following the leader, listening to fear mongers online. First of all, everybody is just succumbed to their phone and what people are saying online. That needs to be deaded immediately because I couldn't stand it. Like I get triggered. Like what? How are you going to sit here and fearmonger all these people, this younger generation, based off of your failed relationships or your failed whatever? All of us are different. We all have different destinies, different paths. Like just because your marriage failed does not mean that the next person's marriage is going to fail or relationship is going to fail. So, you know,
Yeah, yeah, it's a fact. It's a fact.
yeah, I can't stand to see it. So yeah, that's honestly my answer. Healing. Heal. Sit down with yourself and get to the root of what's going on. That needs to be the shift. And also mental shifts, like reprogramming the mind as well. Just unlearning toxic traits, toxic habits from generations and all of that. It's not going to happen in one day. I understand that. It takes time. But I just really want for people to start somewhere. Like why are we
But
continuously go ahead, go
how
ahead.
can an unconscious person find ways to heal themselves consciously when they're unconscious? Like how can they do that?
That's a great question. Ooh, to be honest, they may just be lost for their entire existence on this earth. I don't know. I
Yeah,
really don't
that's
know. That's a really good
that's
question.
true.
It really made me think for a second. Dang, that's really deep. They're just gonna have to be lost their entire time here on this plane, wherever we're at. Oh, okay. So yeah, that was beautiful. Okay, so when it comes to balance and being within alignment, do you think that it's how do I want to word this? Do you think that it's completely possible for somebody to be completely balanced, or do you feel like there's always going to be an imbalance somewhere? Like nobody can ever be completely balanced.
That's
How
a
do you
great
feel about
question. I say yes and no because for one, and to the person watching this in the future, just know neither right nor wrong. So if you cannot comprehend this podcast or this interview, leave because it's not meant for you. But
it? Hello.
so to that question, I feel like yes and no because for one, even though we are balanced, we'll always be imbalanced. We'll always be unbalanced because it's like, for example, you cannot. There's no way in the planet that 365 days out the year you're going to be happy every day. That's literally impossible.
Fact.
And I feel like too, you're not going to be sad every day. It's just not possible. So like, you can find heaven. You think that you'll find heaven every day, but there will always be hell. So it's like you may think that you're having a great day for a week, but then that second week tires may go flat, car may get hit, T-bone on the highway, your job may fire you, somebody may not cook your food right, you may get sick, somebody may die in the family. There's so many imbalances to the point to where it's not realistic in this dimension for human beings or a human experience for a spiritual being. And it's just like
Mhm.
I feel like for us to find that balance, we have to go within. It's like I say it like this, like when things happen, the way I do it is I say to myself, you know what, that was meant to happen. So like if something was to happen to me, I just think to myself, you know what? I sit there and I think to myself, okay, let me go into my mind. For one, it's a simulation. So everything is already scripted. So I say like, for one, we're already destined and predetermined for whatever's supposed to happen to us. So if someone's that happened to me, I'm thinking to myself, you know what, Almighty Creator, I see what you did there. So it's like a test. And my ego pick and choose how to feel about that. So if I get sad, I'm choosing a low frequency. But it's like, how can I see this outcome for a better, feeling? So it's like, okay, something happened to me. Cool, I understand. So it's like, hold on, oh, obviously that's something happened. But
No, you're
so
good.
I choose to be happy. So it's like, you know what? Life is better than this. It's like this is happening for a temporary time. Let me go ahead and uplift my spirit because
Mhm.
subconsciously my ego thinks that this is a bad experience, but it's like no, it doesn't even exist. First of all, because we're all dreaming anyway, and if we're all dreaming, none of this is even real in the first place. So I had to train my brain to think to itself, you know what? Fine, go within. It's like you know what? Bad things are going to happen. You can't do nothing about it. It's inevitable.
Mhm.
Just like ain't no point in me fearing death when I know I die when I go to bed at night. So why should I fear myself when I am the reflection of death when I go to sleep?
Mhm.
So it's like finding balance is something that you have to. It's like a chore. It's like nurturing a baby. It's like nurturing a marriage. You have to want to find heaven or you want to find hell. It's up to you. Your conscious or
Mhm.
subconscious mind. You know. As far as you would, so spirituality, and as far as like so on your spiritual journey, even with your physical existence, how are
Mhm.
you able to, as it was crazy as a divine feminine too, how are you able to balance both of those perspectives as, your feminine experience? How are you able to do that?
Oh,
Because I
that's
know
a
it's
good.
really hard. It's much harder for you for sure, because you got this menstrual cycle,
Yes.
yeah, you got all that. So
Yeah.
how is that for
So honestly, what's beautiful is that one of my spiritual advisors, she actually was talking to me about menstrual cycles and like how when we are on our menstrual cycles, we're actually the closest to we're the closest to the other realms or outer worldly things. And it was beautiful the way that she worded it because she's like, don't take that time of the month as a time to dread yourself and and become imbalanced. Take it as a time to really embrace your divine and embrace your womb. And she also mentioned how like on our menstrual cycles we're even closer to, how does she said it in a sense that we're closer to like an orgasmic field. It was interesting, but it really opened my mind and it really enlightened me. I was like, wow, I never thought about it like that. Like I never thought about our menstrual cycles in a spiritual way or from a spiritual perspective. So yeah, I just have to say that. But what was the question again?
how do you balance like your spiritual experience and your physical, like knowing how the
Okay.
world, always, yeah.
Okay, bet. So honestly, I'm still working with that because I am I feel like I have a really well, it's not too balanced, but it's pretty balanced. I feel like I'm in the middle of, my spiritual being, my spiritual essence, and also just being a human.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, when I try to balance it or when I think about balancing it, I try not to think I try not to think so hard about it. I try not to make myself feel bad either because I feel like a lot of times I'll beat myself up for either being too spiritual or like too in the plane or being too humanly and too 3D-ish. It's like, dang, that's a good question. Like, I'm still working on that, honestly. Yeah, I'm
That
still
is,
working on it. Yeah, I'll have an answer for you soon, but like, I'm honestly still working on finding the balance.
yeah. No, I just wanted you to think. That's why I asked that. So every time
Yeah,
you ask something, I want to ask something times 10 to where it's gonna make you think.
yeah, no, that was great because yeah, that really made me think. Yeah, I had a question, but it went away. Dang it, let me find it.
What was the context of the question?
It was okay. It was in regards to what you spoke about before when you spoke about high value. I wanted to question why you do not like the high value because I know you say you don't like the that phrase. I wanted to know why.
Because it's so follow the leader. Like it's like the
Mm,
blind leading the blind. Like, society has watered down and oversaturated so many words to where I find it stupid. Like for example, no Diddy. That is so retarded. Excuse me, French. That is so stupid to me.
you're
Because it's like
good.
stop giving a weirdo attention by giving him more validation for his name. I just say pause or no homo. With
Yeah.
like when niggas say high value man, this and that, it's like people when people say that, it's like you don't even know what the hell you're even talking about. Because to find value, it's not even how much money you have. It's like,
Hmm.
are you as a person on the inside? Because it's like if money was not involved, how valuable are you to a woman or a man? It's like What can
Facts.
you deliver? What can you provide? What can you bring into this person's life? And it's like without them, who are you? Because like
Hmm.
you, it's like for like people can leave whenever they want. So like if you're like valued on a higher standpoint, can you walk into a room and people introduce themselves to you? Can people help you pay for your groceries? Can people want to take you on a date? Can people want to come up to you and say you look good or like ask you questions? I feel like value is it's a frequency. So it's like people
Hmm.
don't have that frequency because it's like for one you're stuck in your lower self anyway. So I feel like value comes at your like at the highest enlightenment of a divine perspective, and people don't have that. So when people say that, I look at them, I'm just like, you're talking from your root chakra anyway, so you don't have any value to bring to the table. That's why when people make videos or posts or content, I look and I'm just be like, you didn't add no value or substance to this teaching, but
Hmm.
because it's going viral, it's because you're degrading our people. It's like people will degrade our people and it goes viral. And it's just like people be like, oh, that's a high valuable
Hmm.
person. It's like that doesn't make any sense to me. That's not common sense. So
Hmm.
that's why it's like I hate that word. Because like people who say that they have no value, whether it's a man or a woman. So that's how I feel.
That's real.
What do you think is a high value man and woman? Like what do you think that should be? Like what would you think?
Okay, so at one point it was like what 2022. I consider myself like a high value, young adult. But when I think about it now, of course, I think of everything on a spiritual level. So, in my opinion, if I'm thinking of a high value person in general, I'm thinking of somebody who is in touch with themselves. Like I think it's so important to me to just have to be in touch with who you are and your soul, your spirit. So when I think of a high value person, I think of somebody who's very self assured, very confident in who they are, somebody that has empathy, somebody who, can understand others, open minded. It's really about values and character traits for me. It's not about the physical or the material. I look
Amen.
within. It's like I'm looking within. So if you don't possess those characteristics to me, you're not high value. You're just, I don't know, but you're just not high value. It's all about characteristics in both men
Amen.
and women for me. So yeah. Yeah.
Hold on, it's
Um
reconnecting.
oh,
Okay.
it cut out?
No, it's good. It was reconnecting for me.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's my thought on high value people in general. It's just all about characteristics and who you are within and how you treat other people. Um so
Amen.
yeah. Okay, so we're nearing the end of the episode. I wanted it to be about 30 minutes long. We are 25 minutes. I would like to ask if you have any advice or final words for the viewers, the listeners.
Amen. I would say, for one, every single day you had to be able to live every day like tomorrow's not promised because tomorrow is always worried about tomorrow. So no matter what, you had to always, it's like, you have to find out who you are. And the thing is, you will never find out who you are. So what do I mean? You have to be able to look into the mirror every single day and tell yourself the things that you want to hear and the things that you want people to tell you about yourself. On top of that, you have to actually speak your future in the current moment. So you have to be consistent in your words because we're always speaking spells. So if you're going to speak English, you have to be able to speak positivity. Don't let negativity come out of your mouth because if you do that, you are literally killing yourself spiritually and physically. So you should not want to shoot yourself in the foot by saying, "Man, I don't got this job opportunity. I'm not shit. I'm broke." Like don't lie to yourself because you're
Hmm.
not. You have to be able to always dominate your ego and always spread love. Stop being a dickhead. Stop being an asshole. Stop being arrogant. And on top of that, no matter what, you don't know everything. Even though you know something, a wise person knows that they know nothing. Literally. So every day, just want to grow and evolve into your higher self in the current moment and stay present and build for your future. You have to think 10 years ahead of who you want to be. So that's the best thing.
Yeah. Okay, I hope that you guys enjoyed Darius and his advice, his word. I know I did. That was beautiful. To piggyback off of that, my advice for the listeners today would be to first of all drink water, drink some water. Okay, get you some lime juice in the water. Okay, hydrate yourself. Get your steps in. Take a walk outside. Whatever the case, if you can't get outside, walk around your house. Yeah, and just speak abundance, positivity, and success over your life, over yourself today, whether you got it or not. It's gonna come eventually. Okay, manifestation. So yeah, that's the end of the episode. Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity. appreciate you so much.
No problem. And thank you for shouting me out. You guys, please be sure to follow Darius on Instagram at Divine Messenger 777. Is there any
Yes.
underscores?
No, just
Okay,
what
yeah.
you correct.
Okay, Divine Messenger 777. Please tap in with him and his YouTube channel. He drops a lot of gems. I'm pretty sure a lot of people listening will, advance and be able to take in what he says. So yeah, that's all. I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye. Let me